welcome to my show. Autumn is here. My name is Francine Crawford. I am your host. Today, we're going to talk about aging and economics. The reason why I want to talk about this is because sometimes we just don't think about it and we don't talk about finances. We don't want to talk about finances with our family. We're uncomfortable about that. But it's very, very important, especially as you're aging. When I thought about when I age, not when I age because I am aging. When I retire, my check doesn't come with me. I thought about that now. It's a little scary. But the benefits that I get from my job don't come with me. So I started thinking about what do people do? What kind of position is most Americans in when they age at 65 or when they retire? Like what kind of position they're in? When I looked at it, it was 16.5% of people that were under the federal poverty level. 16.5% of older adults over the age of 65 will retire and they will be under the federal poverty level. That's kind of scary, and that's a lot of people. So I started thinking about that and was like, well, what could we do? What could we do ahead of time, to try to help with that? And why is that? And a lot of times, we work and we think it's going to be great. We're going to retire, but we don't really think about the practical thing about retiring. So the economics of retiring is very important to think about. Why it's important is because we're on a fixed income after we leave our job. Most of us are on Social Security. And that's one of the main incomes for people who are over 65. Now you may have savings, you may have 401k, you may have an IRA, things like that. You may have insurance that covers long-term insurance, which will help you if you need to stay in a nursing home or a situation like that. You may have other kinds of insurances that will cover you, and all those things put together will help you in your retirement and help you to live comfortable. But there comes to a point where you have to kind of go through all that, and you also may have investments, which is good. Even when you invest, though, you need to relook at how you allocate your investments, because as you get older, you may need your investments sooner, and you may not be able to leave it in that long. So you may want to take less risky investments. But all these things can help you to assess where you're at and if you can be able to live for the next, 20, 25 years. Because just because you stop working, the cost of living hasn't stopped. Cost of living is still going up. Things are going up. The regular things that you need are going up. Food is going up very high. And if you're on a fixed income, you can only afford a certain amount. And you're going to have to be able to budget that and think about, what can I do? What can I live on? Things like that. Taxes are going up. Insurance is going up. Medical costs is going up. Doctors' fees are going up. Utilities are going up. Like everything that you need is going up. But it's not your salary, but your income is going to stay the same. So that's why it's so important to think about this economic finances, because you don't know what you're going to need. Now, of course, sometimes you get discounts, like transportation will go up, gas will go up, but sometimes you get discounts and things like that. And that's good. And there are other things that you might get discounts on. But still, when you consider 16.5% of people who are over the age of 65 that are under the federal poverty level, that is very scary. That's 25. They're making about $25,000 a year in their benefits that they get. $25,000 a year. And that's very, very tough to live on. So, there are certain things that you should consider, because if Social Security is what you get, consider other things. Consider all your assets, not just the Social Security. Consider your savings. Consider your houses that you have, or if you have more than one, or if you have insurance or pension or things like that, consider your insurance policies, how long you had them. Can you borrow off of them? Because if you borrow off of them, that's a less interest that you have to pay back. So consider that. Consider, any other kind of assets that you may have, any personal assets. Consider different things that you've saved on. Consider cutting back. Consider cutting back spending. Cut back some of the things that you do. If you do something regularly, like every Friday night I go out and I hang out and I party and I play cards and I do whatever, maybe you can do that once a month and not every week. Start thinking about that ahead of time before you retire or before you need the extra money. Start cutting back now. Cut back some of the things that you have plan that you used to do every year. Like every year you have this big event plan. Maybe somebody can help you with that. Maybe, your family member can meet you halfway. I have a big event that I do that I'm going to have to start cutting back too. Because you got to think about it. If you're closer to retirement age, there are some things that you're going to have to keep some of that money to yourself to help you have a better quality of life. There are different things that you can do with your home. You can start thinking about doing things like downsizing your property and things that you have. You can start thinking about downsizing your car, the vehicle that you have, to offset some of the expenses. You don't have to have that big gas guzzler truck because you don't have your big family now. Maybe you can downsize that and save some money on insurance, save some money on gas, different things like that. You can just do garage sales. Now, if you live somewhere more than 10 years, you probably have a lot of things in your closet, a lot of things you never use, a lot of things that has tags on them that you can use, that you can downsize and have a garage sale. You can look at those things that you knew that you were going to get back into, but you can't get back into. You know what they are. Those kind of things. If you do that, like people are buying old things, they're buying vintage clothing, they're buying all kinds of different things, belts, shoes, everything. How we used to give away everything and we used to take it and bag it all up and just give it away? Well, people are actually selling these things on the internet. If you are not familiar with the internet, if you're not internet savvy, you might want to do that. If you're an aging adult, you might want to do that. You might want to get internet savvy. Ask your children, ask your grandchildren to help you on the internet. The internet can help you to sell things, to package things better and well, and then you're able to catch the eye of other people and sell. You'd be surprised what you can sell on the internet. So maybe you might want to do that, consider that, have a garage sale, but it's an electronic garage sale. and ask your children how to do that safe. You have to be able to do that safely. And they can help you with that. But these are things that maybe you can do to cut back and look at. There are things that you should look at on your bank statement. Look at your bank statement. Look at your bank statement and see all those things that you have that are automatic deductions that come out. Automatic deductions like the gym that you haven't gone to in 10 years. That is still deducting, but their prices are still going up, but they're still deducting that monthly fee that you haven't looked at for a long time. That magazine that started off at $2.99 and now it's $9.99, and you really don't look at that magazine. So you were trying to support something at one point and you made a donation and it keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. Every year you make that donation. I'm not saying don't make donations or anything like that, but you have to reconsider all these things that come directly out of your account that you don't think about because you don't see it come out and you don't feel the impact of it. But things add up. They really do. Cut down on some of your bills. Cut down on some of the usage of the things that you use a lot. I tend to keep lights on all the time. Okay. I might need to do that. Cut down on my lights because these things add up. All these different things add up because utilities are going up. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like when food goes up, there's really nothing you can do about that. Utilities goes up, nothing you can do about that. Taxes go up, nothing you can do about that. Also, you can actually look into some programs. Look into some programs for seniors, for elderly. Call the Department of Aging. Call these different agencies, the elderly care and things like that. Find out different programs that you can look at, that you can look into that may help subsidize some of the money that will help you to live a more quality of life. We know that when we get older, we also need more care. That's why it's important to look into financial economics, because when you get older, you need more care. And where you're not getting more money coming in, but you need more care, you may need the care of getting items, getting a wheelchair or canes or different things, setting up your house because, make it more easier for you to get around. You may need these things and these help. And sometimes Medicaid will pay for things like that, but you may need extra care. You may need care that you need someone at home to care for you. And if you do, then you may have to pay for that. And if you have to pay for that, you got to think about that. That's an extra expense that you didn't have before that you're going to have to pay for. That's something you got to consider. What are the prices for those things? What is the prices for getting a home attendant? What are the prices for having somebody come and care for me? What are the prices of nursing homes? If you get ill medically and you need the attention of a nursing home, the nursing home prices are for like a single private room is almost $9,000. For a semi-private room is like $7,500, like a month. This is a month. You got to think about that. Weigh that in, because you may already have illnesses that are deteriorating your body, and you may need that. So it's something to consider and to think about. But you also have to think about when you do that, all your assets go to the nursing home. You pay that down and once you pay that down, then Medicaid will pay for your room and board at a nursing home. So that's something to think about. You have a choice of assisted living now. If you have a choice of assisted living, Medicaid doesn't pay for room and board for that. Assisted living can be $4,500 a month. That's on the low end, probably. That's more on the low end. It could be up to $5,900 a month in some cities and states. Every city and state is different. And that's a lot of money. And if it is that much money, how are you going to subsidize it? How are you going to continue to live if you have to go somewhere in another community so you can be safe? Assisted living is a long-term living facility that you have amenities there, you have security there, you have you have your own private space, your apartment or suite. You can go downstairs and dine with them. They cook for you. They cook, and everybody goes down there to dine. You have a community there, also a community of people your age, people that you can talk to, and they have activities for you. So that's a consideration. But the cost is a consideration also. So think about that cost and how you can plan now for that cost, how you can possibly put more money away for that cost. Also, talk to your family. Think about, if you have a few children, maybe your children will be able to help you. Maybe they're doing well, and maybe your income covers $2,500 a month, and your children can get together and cover the rest. You never know. That may be something that you can consider, but talk about those things now. What's the possibilities? Also think about possibly relocating somewhere else that has less expenses, that is more affordable. Look at what you have and all your assets, everything that you have, and look at that and see how long can you use that. Say if you live for another 20, 25 years, and people are living longer, so that's not a stretch. But if you live for another 20, 25 years, think about that. Do you have enough to cover you? Maybe you have enough to cover you in another state, another place. Maybe you don't have enough to cover you where you live now. Maybe you have to think about relocating, not only downsizing from your home or your car or vehicle, but actually relocating someplace where things are cheaper, where insurance is cheaper, where gas is cheaper, where the cost of living is cheaper, where places where they're not paying high taxes. Think about that. Think about rethinking your dream. I know I have a couple of friends that first, when they got a job and it was like 25 years, you're going to retire. From that day they got it. They were thinking about, I can't wait when I retire. I'm going to buy me this car. It's going to be fully loaded, a brand new car. That's going to be my retirement gift, and that's great. That's wonderful. Awesome. But that car that they were going to get that was fully loaded 20, 25 years ago was $45,000. Now that car, the list price is $95,000. That's the list price. You might want to rethink your dreams. Not saying not to dream, but you might want to rethink it or save now, put more money away for that dream car, and I know people who've done it and they've gotten a dream car, and it's a struggle. It's a struggle because your money has to last you for years. So if you put it on one thing, you got to consider that. Are you going to be able to maintain that? So that's something to think about. Rethinking our dreams, because you may have to live for 25 more years. 25,000 more years. No, 25 more years. And if you live for 25 more years, how are you going to live comfortably? Also, think about, the environment you want to live in. That's going to help you, think about that health-wise. Think about that with people. Think about that as a consideration for, mental health, emotional health. Think about that. Think about how that's going to help you in many ways. And worrying about money affects you emotionally. It really does. Affects you mentally. So you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're worried about money. 16.5 million Americans, older adults, are below the federal poverty line. 1 in 3. That's very scary. You definitely don't want to be that, but you may not be that. You may be the person that has some money in the bank. You may be the person that has some good investment, made some good investments, but at some point you may need to consider assisted living. And if you consider assisted living, and you may be the person that makes $50,000 a year or $70,000 a year after you have retired, that $70,000 will go to that assisted living place, because that's just about how much it costs, or maybe a little bit less, depending on where you're at, depending on what state you're at, and how you want to live. So you got to think about, how long is that going to last you? You may even think about, just being able to partner up with other people. There's things called shared home. If you have a big old home and all your children moved out and you still have your home, and maybe it's paid for, maybe it's not, I don't know, but you still have your home, you still have your space. Other adults may want to partner with you and live with you and share the bills, share the rent, split it. That's an idea to do. I know a lot of people may not like that, but that's a reality. Say if you want to stay in a place where you always lived and grew up in, or say if you want to stay in the city that you lived in, and that city is very expensive. You might want to share your home and share the expenses. In that way, that can subsidize your income and help you to live a better quality of life, and help you to live easier and not worry about too many things. So that's something to consider also. Somebody says there's a will, there's a way. There are ways that you can possibly get some help. And don't forget about the agencies for elderly and things like that, because they will give you some assistance in that, and ask them for financial planning. You can ask them that now before you retire, and talk to your family members. Allow them to be in your business. Allow them to understand a little bit more about what you have, so they know what to do. Maybe they can plan now to help you. Talk to them. Let them know that you're concerned. And you have some assets, but it may not be enough for you to live for 25 more years. So let them see what they say, and see what kind of help you have. Also consider the cost of your, when you pass away. Consider that cost. That's the cost. Funerals are very expensive. They're very expensive. Consider that. Make sure your insurance policy has enough for that. We've done our insurance policies years ago, 30 years ago, 35 years ago. We may not even know what it says. We may not even know what it gives us as benefits. Make sure you don't have something that ends at a certain year. And if it ends at a certain year and you live beyond that, you have no insurance. So make sure about your insurance policy, your cost. We live in a different world than we did before. Now people are going on the internet and you're doing a GoFundMe for insurance. Now, if that's your flavor, that's your flavor. That's what you do. That's what you do. But that is an option. The Bible says you have not because you ask not. So people ask, and if there's a need, so that's also a way that people will get money for funerals and things like that. One of the things that you can do now, whether you're a senior, whether you're 40, 45, will be a senior at some point in time, is to get involved and to ask the people that are in your community, or that are your assemblymen, your Senate, your community leader, your senators, congressmen. Ask them, talk to them, look into them, find out what platform they're standing on. Are they doing anything for seniors or aging? Are they doing anything that's going to help the aging community? Are they doing anything that's going to put programs that is going to help you in getting homes, or getting discounts, or being able to move about, or transportation, or even healthcare and things like that? Are they doing that? Because it's important. It's important. And if they're not on the platform, and they have nothing on their platform that has nothing that's going to aid in senior citizens, then maybe they're not the person for you. Maybe they're not the person that gets your vote. It always amazes me how people forget about senior citizens, forget as if they just disappeared. Like they're still here and they know they're still here, but they act like they're not valued, they're not useful anymore, or they're not important. The things that they need are not important. And that's so not true. It is disturbing that people are living longer, so you're older for quite some time, and they're not putting things together and helping you live a better quality of life. It's interesting. I had a community person that I wanted to interview, and I just thought that, community people and leaders in the community, assemblymen, people like that, they have their ear to the pavement. They know what's going on. They know what's coming up, things before we know. They know about legislation. They know the rules. They know the laws, things like that. So, of course, laws apply to everybody in the community, right? And the elderly and the older adults are in the community. They're still here. So I thought it would be a great idea to get a community leader on my show to say, hey, talk about some things in the community. So I asked, and they said, well, what is your show about? And I told them about getting families and people involved with their aging relatives, and speaking to caregivers, and talking about senior issues and things that will help the aging community, and programs, and some different things to watch out for, and illnesses, and different things that will help us to have a better quality of life, and have us have more tools as we age, So he said, well, I don't think I can do that. I don't have anything. I don't speak to that. And I was like, well, I'm sure you do, because you have to have things that come across your table that is talking about housing or Social Security, which is a big one. Now, Social Security is all over the news. They're trying to cut Social Security. That's a big thing, and that's a political thing. So different things, maybe transportation. I said, I'm sure that these things come across your desk, rezoning, things like that. And he was like, nah, you might need to talk to some of the agencies, the elderly agencies, the Department of Aging, things like that. And I said, well, I don't understand. Now, I'm sure that there is something that comes across your table and some kind of legislation that affects seniors. Maybe you haven't thought about it, but I'm sure that there is something that impacts the senior community. And since you're a community leader and you're involved in politics, there's something that you can add, and you can help people, and about. Maybe there are people, things that that are happening to help to keep them safe, or help with their medical. Something is coming across that is going to help seniors. And it's like, well, no, I don't really think so. That's not my platform. That's not what I do. And so I was very nice, I thought. And I said, you know what? I'm going to let you think about it a little bit, because I'm positive that there is something that you are aware of that you just haven't pinpointed, that it affects seniors, that it affects the older adults in the community, in the city. I think there's something that you just haven't thought about it in that way. But go back, think about it, see the things that come across your table, the things that you have to vote on, and things like that, and then get back to me. And yes, he says, okay, you might be right. I'll get back to you, and gave me a date that he would get back to me, and he has not gotten back to me. Okay, I say that to say this. That was just one instance. That was just one person. But that may be happening in your community, where they kind of erase the value of aging people, where they are not paying attention to the needs of aging people, where things are changing and they're not doing anything about it, where they're not bringing the information soon enough, where there are things that are happening and they might have programs, but then they're not telling everybody. So they miss the deadline. And sometimes, with all of these different things that they might have, it's hard to fill out forms for the aging. They don't understand certain things to fill out forms. And when you have those programs and you miss one thing, usually they put you in a pile, or you're out, or you're not considered for the program, or whatever. So there are things that, is important for the aging community. And the people that you vote for, your assemblymen, your senators, your congressmen, find out what their platform is. Find out if they have a platform that's going to serve you. Find out if they have programs that are going to serve you. Find out if they're even talking about it, if they're even considering things. Legislation that concerns you, are they bringing that up? Are they talking about Social Security? That's a concern. Are they talking about new things in housing or making it more affordable? Are they talking about, and not only talking about it, what are they doing about it? Is it the same thing they've been talking about for years and nothing has been done? That's very important to people who are 40, 45 now. It's very important because it takes a long time sometimes to put through legislation and to get things right and to get some programs for aging or for everybody. Sometimes it takes a while. And by that time, maybe you might need it. So think about that when you're voting. Think about that when you're listening to these people, when they ask you to support their campaign, when they ask you to come out and be present so they have a crowd present, when they ask you to donate to the campaign, when they ask you to get signatures for them, for their party, for their person that they're trying to support. When they ask you that, ask them, well, what is your platform? What do you have for me? What do you have for me as a senior? Or when I become a senior, what are you putting in place? Ask them, see what they say. Why can't we have things up front for the aging, not hidden, not, oh, by the way? They're just as important. They're still living here. They're still paying taxes. They're still paying the high prices of food. They're still contributing to the community. They're still, they don't get exempt from the things that are going up, the taxes that are going up. There's not an exemption. Yeah, they may have a little waiver or something like that, but considering that they are on a fixed income, considering that they don't have an opportunity for their salary to go up because they're not working, they don't have control over when the medical pharmaceuticals and the medicines and all these different things go up and they raise their prices. They don't have control over that, but they have to pay that because they're the people who may use it more. They're the people who are sick or ill or need equipment or things like that, but they have no choice. Who is doing something for them? Who is doing something for our older adults, our aging community? Who in this political platform is doing something for them? Who is speaking up? Who is standing up? Who is initiating some programs? Who is really carrying out stuff? Not just talking, not just putting a bunch of people with titles, but actually doing the work, the groundwork, doing something out there, doing the groundwork. I'm sure there are some people that are out there that are doing the groundwork. I really do believe that. But is there legislation that's going to help them? Is there programs and money put aside that's going to help them in their cause and what they're doing? Are people talking about it, or is it just getting, swept under the rug? I have a concern about that. I really do. Aging people have worked hard. They have gave there's time and their efforts and their money, and they should be considered as important and still of value to our community and, to the world. We should just take care of the aging more and look out for them more. And sometimes that means voting for the right person. Sometimes that means listening and seeing who is actually pushing for you. So because the aging community, those are the people that are going to vote. They're retired. They're going to be the ones that get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever time the polls open. I don't know, but they're going to be the ones that are going to vote for you. They're going to be the ones that, if there's a primary, if there's a vote for assemblyman, Senate, president, they're going to be at all those polls and they're going to vote all the time. So you should consider what they need if you want their vote. So I'm sorry, I got on the soapbox, but that is something that concerns me, that people just kind of dismiss people because of their age. You know, ageism is real and people do that. Okay, that's my show for today. I thank you for listening and I will see you next week. Bye.